What's up, everybody? So I had a small, well, shit, it's actually not small, but rather large revelation um, here in probably the past couple of days, and I just want to talk to you about it. And it's really about how deep the abuse goes in ways that you would never even think about, in ways that you couldn't even begin to think about. We're all aware of the damaging emotional or the emotionally damaging aspects of the abuse and how it can affect your relationships and so on and so forth. We've discussed that quite a bit, but in ways that abuse has affected your life that you couldn't even begin to comprehend. And one of them just hit me today, more or less today, but kind of in the past few days, really. So after kind of healing from narcissistic abuse and coming to terms with all the emotional damage, um, obviously I'm set now on a path of making my life better. And when I have a problem, I address it, look at it, and see, okay, how can I fix this? And one of the issues I've had, and I've had this in my entire life, I remember my whole life complaining to people about this, and I never figured it out, is the fact that I was tired all day long. But at night, I'd be wide awake, just excruciatingly exhausted all day long. But at night, wide the fuck awake, full of energy. I've had this my entire life. I mean, in middle school, high school, you know, just would be falling asleep in class, couldn't do my work, but then I'd get home, be wide awake playing video games all night long. Um, and it's, now that I'm running my own business and doing all this stuff, it's negatively affecting my life to the point where I'm like, okay, this needs to change. And I figured it out. So let me tell you the story. It's kind of, let's just start from the beginning. How about that? My entire life, I only ate one time a day. I will say my entire life, but the majority of my life, under the parental uh, influences of abuse, I only ate once a day. Even as a 5-year-old kid would only eat once a day. The normal routine was get woken up to go to school, rush to get ready. Probably within 10, 15, 20 minutes, you're in the car, you're going to school. No breakfast, ever. Never had breakfast. Not once in my entire life did I have breakfast unless I stayed at a friend's house. And when I did stay at a friend's house and their parents cooked breakfast, I was like, what is this? This is crazy. So, no breakfast, you know. Um, Sent off to school, which was a private school. Thankful for that, but it was a private school, so you actually had to pay for lunch. Lunch wasn't free. Sent off to school with no money to pay for lunch, and no lunch made for you. Keep in mind, this is at 5 years old. It's not like I'm, you know, in my teens where I can make my own lunch. This is 5 years old, um, 5, 6, 7, whatever. So no breakfast and sent to school with no lunch. And I recall every single day, you know, going up to my classmates begging for change, just so I could get like a soda or like a biscuit or something. I think the little, God, those biscuits were awful. They were like 60 cents for a biscuit. So I'd be like going up to all my friends just begging for change. Some days I ate, some days I didn't. And you can see how that's just damaging in and of itself. Um, how fucked up that is. I was basically being starved. Anyway, get home from school, and there was no food in the house. I mean, there might be a little bit, like maybe you might have a cookie or something. And then probably about 8, 9 o'clock at night, normally we would have dinner. Um, and that wasn't guaranteed either, but more often than not, we did. And then, I would stay up all night. You know, I have pictures of me in middle school. And actually, this is actually for my whole family, all the children. Pictures of us in middle school or early high school. At pool parties or anything like that, where we were literally emaciated. Our ribs were showing. We were, highly, malnourished. We were, a foot or two shorter than all the other kids. Um, you know, Nobody in my family hit puberty until like their late teens. Um, it was extremely strange. The excuse that the narcissists and the bullshit parents gave is, well, our family always blooms late. Our family always blooms late. Well, this funny thing happened right when I turned 16. I actually hit puberty significantly earlier than my brothers and sisters. They had already left for college at this point, but this is why I hit it earlier. When I was 16, I started to receive my child support directly. So not going to another parent, directly to me. So actually, for the first time in my life, I could actually eat lunch and dinner. Within probably about 8 months, I grew probably a foot and a half in about 8 months. Hit puberty, all this. Kind of very strange. And looking back on it, it was the fact that my body finally had the nourishment it needed to actually grow. Something can't grow without nourishment. You can't, never feed an animal or a plant and expect it to grow. It just, my body was just in this state of, I would call it being just simply frozen. It didn't have the energy. And then it also explains, the being exhausted all day. You're waking up in the morning and you're not filling up your gas tank. You're waking up in the morning and you're already exhausted. All your resources are already exhausted. And then you go all day long with no nourishment, no energy. And then at night you eat, and then boom, all of a sudden you have energy and you're up all night. Now, shamefully, and I feel a little bit stupid for it, that trend, I guess, just because I'm used to not eating breakfast, I'm used to not eating lunch. That trend is even now that I'm wondering about this and trying to fix it. I'm still doing it today. I still wake up and don't eat breakfast. I still don't eat lunch. I don't eat one meal like later in the evening, and I'll be up all night. Uh, um, it's something that I can't believe I didn't notice, and it's been a problem my whole life. Why am I always tired? And that's why. I'm waking up and I'm not filling up my tank before I go out and do things. I'm running on E the whole day, and then I'm filling up and then going to trying to go to sleep. Of course, that's not gonna work. I'm wide awake now. All the nutrients have finally kicked in. Um, Crazy to think about. So the whole point here is that the abuse goes so much deeper than you actually thought it did. This wasn't emotion. I mean, this was abuse by neglect, by absolutely. But this isn't like up until the moment that I realized that, this isn't something that I'd be like, why am I tired all day? Oh, that was from abuse. That would have been my last guess in the world of I'm tired all day because I was abused. But sure enough, the correlation is there, and it's undeniable. Um, so what I want to encourage you to do is when you start to see uh, things that you want to improve on, things that you want to get better, even though it doesn't involve relationships or anything like that, even just something as simple as eating correctly, you could have been very abused on this. And, that's what I want to encourage you to look at. So when you see something like, is this something that could have been caused by my abuse when I was a kid? Sure as shit. My eating habits, even my eating habits, have been a problem from abuse. I would have never thought it in a million years, man. Crazy, crazy to even think it goes that deep, but it does, It's just the way my body operated my entire life. So, obviously, realizing this now, I'm gonna change that and actually start trying to eat, you know, probably not large meals because I don't want to be huge, but um, you know, small little breakfast, small little lunch, and so on and so forth. And I'm expecting to see a huge change in my energy levels throughout the day, and then I'm sure that will change the fact that I stay up all night as well. Um, so I'll keep you updated on that. But just a massive revelation of how deep the abuse actually goes. It's not even emotional. It's not even. It goes down to your eating habits. Um, it very well could go down to your, you know, basically anything that has to do with your personal health. It can affect. It could go down. I can't say that I personally have this problem, but just to give you some examples, it could go down to, are you, showering enough? Are you grooming yourself like you should be? Are you, uh, you know, it could go into any sort of thing, working out, so on and so forth. I mean, this could affect so many aspects of your life that you're not even realizing is what I want you to see. So much stuff that you wouldn't even think had anything to do with it. And there it is, staring me straight in the face. You know? And this is not a sob story. I mean, it is sad. It's sad that a child was sent off to school with no food, and no way to eat. It's terribly sad, but I don't want the sob story. What I want you to do is just look at that example and look deeper within yourself and see if there's anything like that in your scenario. Because I think this is going to have a huge impact on my life henceforth now that I've realized it. So I hope this was impactful. I hope it made you think a little bit, and hopefully you'll see some things in your life that you can change as well. As simple as just eating on time. Who would have thought? But there it is. All right, guys, tell me what you think, and I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll talk to you later.